Hello and welcome to National Focus. I'm Pearl Fontaine. Thank you for joining us. Coming up in the headlines, local entrepreneurs produce genetically modified organism-free products. Farming enhanced using weather and climate information, and a CSME access project was launched on Tuesday. Stay with us for details of these and other stories right after the break.
The facts as they are, brought to you every day, only on GIS Channel 7.
A project to standardize the processes of integrating OECS member states is underway. On Tuesday, experts and stakeholders met to officially launch the move. The project, named the CARICOM Trade and Competitiveness Project, or CTCP, is being coordinated through the Ministry of Employment, Trade and Diaspora Affairs. The Trade and Competitiveness Project, which has three main components, begins with Component 100, which aims to simplify Caribbean single market and economy procedures like acquiring CARICOM skills certificates. At a media launch on Tuesday, Senior Technical Officer Sandra Jones represented the OECS Secretariat, which is implementing partner in the project. Since the project is meant to enable easier access to the Caribbean single market and economy, Jones sought to clarify the link between the CSME and the OECS Economic Union.
The objectives of these two are very similar in that what they're trying to do is to remove the legal impediments that will deter you from achieving those rights, basically, and which is the free movement of labor, capital, skills, as was mentioned earlier. The benefits to be had as well for the OECS Economic Union and the CSME, and that presently exist, is the free trade area that we all enjoy, the free movement of labor, the customs union, and the one common currency that we all have and that we use in the OECS Secretariat.
Wanya Elas of the CARICOM Secretariat's office shed light on the origin of the CARICOM Trade and Competitiveness Project.
In 2007, the CARICOM Secretariat, with funding from the Canadian International Development Agency, would have started this project called the CARICOM Trade and Competitiveness Project. And the project is really meant to make it easier for CARICOM nationals to make use of the single market regimes. There are a couple of technical components under the project. We're working with all of the member states, the 12 member states. There's a specific component that deals with Haiti. So the work that we're doing in Dominica this week is done in all of the 11 other single market member states. The first part of the work to be done under the CTCP falls under component 100 of the project, and that is the component that deals with the harmonization and the standardization of administrative practices and procedures.
The first phase is being handled by consultant A to Z Information Jamaica Limited, led by Dr. Noel Watson. Dominica's Trade Director Wellsworth Bethelmy discussed the precise role of the consultants in administering Component 100.
They are going to have many consultations during this week with the various regimes, the various regime leaders in terms of the ministries that deal with the regimes that enables the CSME process to move. We have the rights of establishment, we have the free movement of persons, that is skilled persons, we have the free movement of services, we have also the free movement of capital. And all these to have it going, have it operating in a smooth process, we need to understand that we have to put the appropriate measures in place in country to have the process moving smoothly.
The regimes or areas being targeted as indicators of full CSME integration are free movement of skills, goods, capital, services, and the right to establishment. The CARICOM Secretariat's representative gave an example of the changes which the consultant will seek to make.
What the consultants are basically doing, they would have been able under each of the regimes to identify all of the processes. So for instance, under the regime that deals with the free movement of skills, there's a particular process that deals with applying for a skilled national certificate. And they would have received studies that were done in a previous phase in which all of the steps were documented. So what they've basically done is to ensure that the steps that were documented during that phase are still in place in the particular member states. And from all of the different processes across the board, they were able to come up with a best practice, a proposed best practice. Basically from elements from the different countries, some elements from international best practices, and they would then come up with a practice, a proposed best practice, which is meant to be implemented in all of the single market member states. And when that is done, we would have harmonization and standardization of the administrative practices and procedures.
Consultant Team Leader Dr. Noel Watson had this to say.
But in all 12 member states, what we have found so far is that we do things completely different. If it is applying for a skilled national certificate, it is done differently in Dominica to how it is done in Trinidad and Tobago and other member states. For example, if you have your skilled national certificate and you wish to verify it in Dominica, you do not have to go through the whole process again as if you're applying from the beginning. However, if you should go to Trinidad and Tobago or Barbados, you'd have to do so. So member states are definitely not standardized nor harmonized in how we do things. We all charge different fees. In Antigua and Barbuda, it will be 300 EC dollars to apply for a skilled national certificate, whereas in Dominica, it's $100. Am I correct, Mr. Bethelme? Now, if we are one region, one space, what we are aiming for is that if you close your eyes in any member state and apply for a skilled national certificate, you should be paying the same fee. And that is part of what we're aiming at in this project. Standardization, harmonization, so that wherever you are in the region, you understand the processes, you are not taken by surprise when you're trying to access your rights.
He also elaborated on the need for modernization in the necessary manual processes.
What we envision is that you may take out your Samsung S4 or your BlackBerry, what is it, a Q10, or your iPhone if you prefer Apple, and you can actually start the application process online, because we want to bring it state of the art. And there'll be a requirement for you to submit a photograph and your birth certificate and your degrees to show that you have the skills that you talk about, and other documentation. What we envisage is that you can use your iPhone or your Samsung, take a picture of those things, and you send them off to the free movement desk or to whichever entity you're supposed to send it off to start your application. Now, when it gets to the free movement desk, for example, and the free movement desk is the desk that is the first point that your application for a skilled national certificate goes to, they can then distribute it to the other members of the committee electronically. So they don't have to be moving paper around. They can click a few buttons and send it off to immigration.
The project is being funded by the Canadian Development Agency and the CARICOM Secretariat. The Ministry of Agriculture met with farmers, extension officers, and other resource people involved in agriculture at a farmers' forum on Tuesday to discuss the impact of a regional project which uses weather and climate information to enhance farming in the region. The Farmers Forum, held at the Office of Disaster Management, ODM, in Jimmet, sought feedback on work done under the Caribbean Agro-Meteorological Initiative, CAMI project, which was introduced to farmers 2 years ago. The objective of the CAMI project was to increase and sustain agricultural productivity at the farm level in the Caribbean region. As part of the project, farmers have been receiving periodic agro-met bulletins from the local Met office designed to assist them in making decisions about farm practices as it relates to weather conditions.
At the Met office, what we do is that on a monthly basis, in collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture, we compile a bulletin, a meteorological bulletin, which is placed on our website, also distributed to different farmers, different extension officers around the island, and also different organizations like CADI and these other organizations on the island. On the bulletin, we have information of different weather parameters, like you have rainfall, temperatures, relative humidity, and winds, dry spells, rainfall days, and these things. And we normally look at it on a monthly basis. So we'll first look at review of what happened during the previous month and what is expected for the next coming month based on climatological data.
Tuesday's forum discussed in detail the effectiveness of the weather and climate information given to farmers.
So we want to find out from the farmers how they find the usefulness of that information and how we can enhance it to further assist them on their farms. Because part of the bulletin, we work together with the Met Office and the CIMH, or the Caribbean Institute for Met and Hydrology, where they give a 3-month forecast of what the weather will most likely be. So for example, earlier this year we had a drought conditions in February and March, where we were able to advise farmers as to different techniques they could employ on their farm, like the use of mulch, the use of compost material, to basically enhance the soil moisture, because during the drought conditions we saw a lot of plants were wilted, so therefore when the farmers utilize the information, when they know the forecast, based on the forecast, they utilize that information, it could enhance certain of their practices on the farm.
The Division of Agriculture is reporting positive feedback from farmers about the use of the AgroMet bulletins.
We have had 2 such farmers forum in the past, one in the North region in Portsmouth and one in the southeast in Lapland. And I mean, from the discussions that we have with farmers, they all see the usefulness in utilizing that kind of weather information on the farm. We had an experience where a farmer was sharing with us that he planted a whole range of vegetable crops, and he didn't know the drought conditions were coming, and he experienced a total loss because of the drought. So we are saying that if we can get that information out to the farmers, it will better help him in terms of the utilization of his resources. Because if he knew the drought was coming, he wouldn't have gone out and plant all these crops at that time. Or he would have employed techniques such as irrigation, mulching, to kind of, enhance these farming operations.
The Caribbean Agro-Meteorological Initiative came to an end in 2012. Several Caribbean countries participated in that project. In more news, 67 students of the Portsmouth Secondary School graduated from that institution last Friday. The 31st graduation ceremony of the school was held under the theme, "The chapter ends, the book continues." Principal Ronald Austry, in his address, noted that the school just ended a successful year in sports.
In netball, we were unstoppable. We will receive 3 out of 4 titles available. 7 of our students were selected to attend training to represent Dominica in Antigua at the Jean-Pierre Under-16 netball tournament. 5 of our netballers have been selected for training to represent Dominica at the Windward Islands Games next month in St. Vincent. In table tennis, we captured 3 of the 6 championships available. 2 of our girls and 7 boys have been selected by the Dominica Table Tennis Association to attend training for possible selection to the OECS Caribbean Tournament in St. Lucia in August. In volleyball, the boys were unstoppable. They beat all teams and emerged champions. Special thanks goes out to Mr. Lennon Honoré and Mr. Yuya Sumida, whose help is always forthcoming in the coaching department. In football, we emerged national second in the under 15 and under 20 categories and placed third in the zone for the under 17 team.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Helen Royer, delivered the feature address at last Friday's ceremony.
Our journey through life goes through various stages, some of which we do not take knowledge of, but it's a collection of both exhilarating and painful memories. It's a book of experiences for which you began long before your 5 years at PSS and only constitutes one chapter from your entire book of life. Throughout these enthralling and yet perplexing years, you may have flipped through pages of several chapters. Thinking back, some of what you read did not make sense then, but you are at the end of this interesting chapter, which begins to reveal some of the harsh realities of life. You have to face the fact that what becomes of you in the next few months and years to come was created a long time ago. Some of you wish that you had taken your studies seriously, that you listened a little more to your parents' advice, but some of you are elated because you remained focused. But certainly, for all of you, something stands out today in your book.
Cottage MP Honorable Reginald Austrie also addressed last week's graduation ceremony. He reminded the graduates of their roles in society.
Undoubtedly, you are surrounded by negative influences. Drug and alcohol among our youth continue to be a challenge. Graduates, avoid the plague of drug use and drug trafficking, gang activity, violence, negative peer pressure, and illicit sex. I have no doubt that if you make the right choices and channel your energy in a positive direction, we can successfully address even the most complex challenges facing our country today. I say this because I strongly believe that you, the youth, are indeed our future. Your action will determine to a large extent the future of this country, and so you must appreciate the important role that you play in endangering positive attitudes.
Valedictorian Juanita Corbett received special awards in English language, information technology, history, principles of business, and integrated science.
The seeds that we have planted today will bear great fruits tomorrow. It would be remiss of me not to mention that special teacher who has been my mentor from the day I entered these gates 5 years ago, up till this present time. Her unwavering support and confidence in me has encouraged me to reach for the stars and to always strive for excellence in my studies. She is no other than our year-level supervisor, Ms. Julie Valerie. Ms. Valerie, I know that I speak for all my fellow graduates when I extend my deepest gratitude to you for the absolute dedication you have shown in getting us to where we are today, where we can be proud of ourselves, and our parents and loved ones can also look upon our accomplishments with satisfaction and pride.
Stronger than I've ever been now, never been afraid of standing out. Let's do I make you proud. I guess I learned to question is to grow, that you still have faith. It's all I need to know. I learned to love myself in spite of me, and I learned to walk the road that I believe. This is what we dreamed about, but the only question waiting me now is, do I make you proud?
GIS News congratulates the 2013 graduating class of the Portsmouth Secondary School. One would never ordinarily imagine that all these products could be derived from our local plantains, bananas, yams, cocoa, and sweet potato. But Brother Jules and Albert Joseph of Luce did. They are the owners of Green Eye Production, a company that transforms our locally grown foods into varying textures of grains, flour, and even coffee. In collaboration with the Environmental Coordination Unit, these brothers officially presented their products at an exhibition held at the Roseau Fisheries Complex conference room on Monday. According to Jules Joseph, these chemically free products are a result of years of working together to develop healthier alternatives to products made from genetically modified organisms, or GMO. Jules Joseph is the one in charge of processing the raw product and gives us an insight into the main reason behind this initiative.
The idea I came up with it because I realized food security on the island. I've been hearing ministers and government speaking about food security, and I figure something can happen concerning the banana product. So that's the reason, that's one of the main reasons why we realized food security is a main issue on the island. So eventually we came up with the banana product. The first thing is we go about the banana product that we go to the garden first and we get the green banana, and then we take it down home and we dry the banana, sun dry. That's in order that we come up with the first product, which we see in there, which is the organic sun-dried banana. And that's our first step in order to create all the other grains of the banana.
Riverside Cuisine, a local restaurant in Luce, is owned by the brothers. Albert Joseph, who is the chef, has the function of transforming these raw products into tasty meals.
The different product, we have the grains on the table right here. Then this is the grain, right, the grains that we make a burger out of it, you know. A vegetarian can have this, and there is no problem in having it, and so, you know. And this is the bread also. And the burger, we have our seasonings where we get our chive, onions, you know, our local seasonings, organically grown, you know, and add to the grains. And this is what we come up with, sun-dried banana burger. Okay, the bread, we do the bread also by using the flour, and we follow the process of how you make a bread, you know, banana flour, by using our yeast, our salt, and our sugar, and our liquid, you know, to get it to the bread product, really. And we have here sun-dried banana chocolate log. You know, we use the same grains, a different grade, a smaller grade compared to the stir-fry grade, that we make a dessert out of it.
According to Chef Albert, through much research, they have discovered that there are significant health benefits to these natural food alternatives as opposed to the foods that are imported.
Well, the health benefit is like you can use this banana flour, and it's different from the white flour where it have got no chemicals really, and it's organically grown, you know. And I'm positively sure that by using the banana flour, one can really feel good and feel healthy.
Green Eye Production was keen to show the process of taking the raw food from the garden and making it palatable. Minchinton Burton, Director of Forestry, was present at the exhibition and had great reviews on the meals prepared and is optimistic about the initiative.
It's really great. I think it's a very good initiative, and that's what we need to promote more of. I mean, we're quite aware of all the talk recently in terms of the chronic non-communicable diseases in our community, etc. And that's a very good alternative, locally produced, very good, very tasty. I think you had the taste yourself. And I think, you know, that is something that we need to produce. We need to really promote actually in Dominica, and I'm very happy to be here today actually to sample. I mean, some of this stuff I've actually seen for the first time. I mean, they have flours made of almost every single natural element here, with bananas, bread nuts, a whole wide range of some of our local produce here in Dominica.
And that's the English segment of the news. McPherson St. Luce is next with the Creole highlights.
Hello tout le monde. Bienvenue à ces nouvelles en Criola, non moins c'est McPherson Saint-Luce. Premièrement, le gouvernement Dominique continue à assister parents qui pas paient financier vos enfants à l'école. Parole ça sorti du ministère de l'Éducation, honorable Peter Saint-Jean.
Gouvernement Dominique, gouvernement Labour Party qui continue l'année ça là pour assister familles qui ont problème en voyer enfants à l'école. Nous qui continuons avec ça, nous avons créé transfer grant, ça c'est là le gouvernement qui a $500 à famille qui ont des enfants qui passent l'examen là qui allaient à l'école. Aussi nous qui continuons ça, nous avons créé bus transport system, là nous avons transporté ces enfants à l'école. Aussi nous qui continuons là nous avons assistance pour acheter uniforme, souliers et livres l'école textbook pour maman qui a des difficultés.
En autre nouvelle, on consultancy qui a mis attention à ces bons bagages qui a consigné CARICOM Single Market en économie qui prend place en Dominique. Officier CARICOM et puis OECS qui a une discussion et puis ça Dominique qui a consigné bagages administratifs. M. Woodsworth à Bethlehem, c'est directeur commodité en Dominique.
Nous avons un projet, CARICOM Trade and Competitiveness Project. Ce projet ça là qui regarde comment le travail CSME a fonctionné en tout pays CARICOM. Ça nous voit c'est ça. Moun qui attend compte CSME mais yo ka demandé ça qui a arrivé. Avec consultation ça là, yo ka regarder ça qui a marché bien et ça qui pas ka marcher. Et yo ka mettre bagay en place pour faire process CSME marcher tout de suite.
Mais où aussi fait process affaires administratif, dis-nous comme ça?
Eh bien, process administratif là, c'est comment là où tu affiché en ces pays là, comment immigration qui est réceptive, comment où ça tu affiché avec certificat qualification qui CSME qui mettait en place pour moun avec skills, moun qui savent faire biter avec la main, moun qui savent faire biter avec ça yo étudier. Avec tout ça nous regarder compte comment ces moun ça là qui finit à université, comment yo ça afficher bis problème, sans problème en région pays ça là.
D'autres nouvelles, Discover Dominic Authority bien recevoir une délégation 11 moun qui a engagé et puis opération projet ça a créé dive shop owners. Délégation ça là hors la mi-week ici, hors les 22 pour les 27 juin l'année ça là. Pendant ici, il y a une exploration activité projet à Dominique. Il a expecté que ces moun ça là qui vont expérience yo tapé ici. Bas client à yo en l'Amérique. Discover Dominic Authority qui a fait parole qui à Dominique c'est une occasion bien unique pour monde qui compte en projet et puis qui a aussi offert d'autres bagages qui ça attracte monde visiter pays là. Discover Dominic Authority qui a créé qui opportunité comme ça qui encourager monde visiter pays là. Visite ça là qui a aussi collaboré et puis activité Dive Fest qui prend place ici mois prochain. Finalement, messieurs, mesdames, en consultation qui concerne la police nationale pour égalité, normes et puis femmes, ça a créé Gender Equality pour place en Dominique Jodéen. Plusieurs monde qui travaille pour l'initiative Salam, joignent pour discuter police Salam. Madame Rosie Brown, c'est chef département Gender en Dominique.
Yo que regarder police là où ça va en check temps en 7 années qui passé. Le gouvernement approuve accepter un policier. Gender policy. Nous, il y a en place pour tout acteur et différents bitins qu'a fait pour implémenter. Mais nous tapé autant plus ça fait. So nous dit faire un projet qui uniforme pas ba anti épée l'argent. So every projet ça là nous ca développer nous ca qui est acceleration of implementation. Ça nous ca dit un pas c'est pour pousser implémenter pour implémenter policy là à différentes façons. Eh bien, mais quand nous regardons, because c'est une certaine année depuis policy là, I besoin nou, wini otan bagay nef ki ka fet, tot bagay ki ka fet an society la, sosyete la, ki besoin pay attention to. So because of ça, nous développer, nous aller where nous ni consultation tout partout en société la, différents groupes, public service moun, private sector, civil society. So yo tout ça dit qui ça yo ka wè qui besoin aller en de policy là.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelles en créole pour à présent. Non moins c'est McPherson St. Luce. Au revoir.
Coming up next, our tip of the day, conserving water. Don't go away.
Scary. Everything just shaking and making big creaky noises.
Earthquakes, big and small, take place in the Caribbean at least 10 times a year.
The dishes rattling and falling and breaking, then Vonnie started to scream.
All I could think to do was shout, "Get outside, get out!"
Earthquakes, hazards, take control, reduce your loss. If an earthquake hits, what can you do? Get down, get under an item of furniture like a table. Hold on and stay there until the quake passes. Find out lots more about earthquakes and other hazards at your local disaster office. A message from your National Disaster Office and SIDERA.
Water is essential to life on Earth. We need water to grow food, keep clean, provide power, control fires, and last but not least, we need it to stay alive. Although water is constantly being cleaned and recycled through the Earth's water cycle, we still need to conserve it. And here's why. People use up our planet's fresh water faster than it can naturally be replenished. So let's make a conscious effort to conserve water. We can do it with these helpful tips. Close all pipes or taps while shaving or brushing your teeth. Keep drinking water in the refrigerator instead of letting the faucet run until the water is cool. Wash fruits and vegetables in a basin. Sweep driveways, sidewalks, and steps rather than hosing off. And when using a hose, control the flow with an automatic shut-off nozzle. Saving water is good for the earth, your family, and your community. When you use water wisely, you help the environment, and you also save water for fish and animals. And that's all for National Focus today. We welcome your suggestions and comments. Please feel free to drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website at news.gov.dm. Friend us on our Facebook page and be sure to like our GIS Dominica fan page. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Pearl Fontaine. Thank you for watching.